In the summer of 1997, Münster presented for the third time the Sculpture Projects, an unparalleled long-term experiment on the subject of art in public space. More than 70 artists from all over the world had been invited by the Landesmuseum to create outdoor artworks for sites in and around the city. A much disputed work, the provocative contribution by German concept artist Hans Haacke, a cylindrical shack made from rough planks and crowned by razor wire, imitates the form and dimensions of the monument of wars and victories next to it, which is popularly called Temple of Buttocks. Inside the shack, and only visible through the gaps where the planks do not fit together, a children's carousel turns around and around to the speeded up and distorted music of the German national anthem. War and death, violence and suffering, the absurd vicious circle of human existence. Next to Haacke's both intelligent and sensuous work, the Dutch group Atelier van Lieshout has lined up 4 bizarre mobile homes. Modern nomadism has created its own new dwelling. The boundaries between design, architecture and sculpture become blurred, yet functionality is always the supreme principle. The Dutch town of Tilburg uses the so-called Kastmobiel as a mobile art museum, that is, as a space for exhibitions and presentations. Dan Graham too has tried to reconcile function with aesthetics in a communicative, dialogical form. His project, Funhaus for Münster, is a pavilion constructed from mirrors and placed in the neighborhood of 2 playgrounds. Here, children can learn about various perspectives. The grown-ups too enjoy this work. Franz West's answer to the question, what is public space, is as ironic as clear. Next to a waterfall, he installed his work Étude de couleur, or study of colors, which at close view turns out to be a functioning lavatory, and is actually used. Frenchman Raymond Haynes uses large billboards to present his art. Directly next to these, American video artist Diana Thater has chosen the Bunturm to install her project. This fortification tower, which except for the Zwinger is the only remaining tower of the former town wall, was closed for more than 50 years. On the occasion of the 1997 exhibition, it was opened to the public. Inside, Diana Theater installed video projections of wild horses in various colors which seemed to gallop across the walls. Rebecca Horn's contribution to the sculpture projects of 1987 was purchased by the city of Münster and reopened to the public for the exhibition of 1997. The contrapuntal concert installed inside the Zwinger refers to the more recent German history. During the time of the Nazis, the Gestapo used the Zwinger to torture and execute prisoners. Rebecca Horn's eerie work reminds one of this cruel chapter of German history, thus making the Zwinger an impressive memorial to the victims of the Nazi regime. Art and nature, a central subject of the sculpture projects of 1997. On the grounds of the former zoo, a walking stick driven by water pressure dances over the surface of a pond. It entertains the viewers with sometimes madly jerking, sometimes contemplatively slow movements. With this work, Swiss artist Roman Signer created one of the most popular contributions to the exhibition. Signer's fellow countrymen Peter Fischli and David Weiss also devote themselves to the subject of nature. For the time of the exhibition, they transformed a private garden at the promenade into a kitchen garden with vegetables and herbs. Here, viewers can observe plants from springtime to autumn growing and withering. At the same time, the garden offers a romantic urban retreat for visitors who feel stressed by civilization. Bert Thijs, a young artist from Luxembourg, has also translated the idea that an artwork must allow people to use it. In the garden behind the Baroque palace, he constructed a philosophical platform. On this work, he says, people can walk, ride, sleep, dance, and play. During the exhibition, the platform has become a popular meeting place. People perform stage plays or music, give philosophical lectures, meet friends to have a glass of red wine at midnight, or just enjoy the view of the distant botanical garden. In close vicinity to the philosophical platform, German artist Georg Herold hung up a labyrinth of roof battens into a group of trees. The battens are inscribed with banal maxims as well as with quotations from science and philosophy. 4 central sites in the inner city, Wolfgang Winter and Berthold Herbelt, constructed information pavilions of a very special kind. More than 9,000 empty crates for bottles have been borrowed from their regular industrial circulation and will be put back to it after the end of the exhibition. Again, we are presented with artworks which, in addition to their aesthetic appearance, have a practical value. The probably most spectacular work is that by Korean video artist Namjoon Park. His contribution turns the Baroque palace, a splendid building from absolutism designed by Johann Conrad Schlaun, into a stage for a present-day version of Mozart's Requiem. 32 American cars from 4 decades, arranged according to the mathematical forms of the circle, the triangle, the square and the line, symbolize the history of technical revolutions of the 20th century. To the sounds of Mozart's Requiem, these formerly mobile limousines have turned into model-like sculptures. Though in form and size all cars are mobile symbols of the American dream, none of them is roadworthy. With their engines and technical equipment removed and lacquered in silver metallic, the real cars have turned into images of cars. Only the windshields allow the viewers to look into the cars, relics from the age of television, piled up into the composition of a classical still life. While the palace, as the last Baroque building constructed in Münster, marks the transition from absolutistic courtly society to the age of democratic civilization, Park's cars, petrified into a giant sculpture, mark the transition from industrial to information society. Canadian artist Kim Adams also works with the history of engineering and its symbols in the 20th century. On the roof of a former gas station from the 1950s, he placed a construction developed from an American grain silo. Sculpture as well as architecture, the utopian ironic version of an office building for the manager in the 1990s. Young Irish artist Stephen Craig uses a depression at the promenade like an ancient amphitheatre. Of one of 2 ground plans laid out with flat stones rises a pavilion from wood and glass, which one can look into but not enter. The second ground plan is not covered, a homage to the reconstruction of the inner city of Münster after it had been almost completely destroyed in World War II. Every day, Ellen Wikström and Anna Bragg from Sweden run a clubhouse which is both club and driving school. Instructed by the 2 female artists, visitors can learn to ride redesigned bicycles. Though they pedal forward, the bike unexpectedly goes backward. Returnity is the name of this popular project. The visitors are to question their experience from childhood, that is, riding a bike, in order to think about their personal range of knowledge and experience. Sooner or later, art in public space, such as Klaas Oldenburg's giant pool balls from the first sculpture project's exhibition in 1977, is, of course, assimilated to its environment. At the bank of the Aussie, Cuban artist Jorge Pardo has constructed a pier from California redwood, which is about 40 meters long. At its end, in the middle of the lake, is a pavilion-like hexagonal structure which is open to several sides. A wonderful place to date, to have a picnic, to sunbathe, to enjoy the view of the city, or simply to let one's soul swing freely. This short tour of the sculpture project's 1997 already shows the whole range of artworks in public space created in the 1990s. These artworks offer themselves to the public with the intention of encouraging criticism, setting their viewers thinking, or just making them enjoy them. They are art for the heart and art for the brain, as the press unanimously stated with regard to the 70 realized projects. For 100 days, Münster seemed to have changed. The audience, many of them from abroad, strolled on the streets and gathered at the artworks, discussing what they saw. A friendly, open-minded atmosphere. The exhibition was an overwhelming success. About 500,000 visitors, some even from Tokyo and New York, had come to Münster in order to experience this unique and fruitful connection of provincial ambience and art of international reputation. Münster had developed from the capital of a province into a metropolis of art. A small Italian greengrocer's stall went through a wondrous transformation. Roman Signer converted it into a mobile fountain which periodically changes its location in the city. It's not the citizens who approach the fountain, but the fountain approaches the citizens, though in an unfamiliar look. Jeff Gay's contribution is likewise subtle. The Belgian artist was absolutely unwilling to add a further sculpture to the existing cultural attractions in the historical old town. Under the headline "Don't Believe What You See," he has a forklift truck placed at various churches in the inner town. Thus, visitors can have a look at the facades and the figural decoration from close range, eye to eye, so to speak. Chinese artist Huang Yongping also worked with the church when he transformed a statue of Christ without arms from inside the Ludgeri church into a Buddha with 100 arms, whose ritual instruments have been exchanged for instruments of daily use. Ping's contribution once more elucidates the overall concept of the exhibition and may explain its success. Worlds and cultures meet and enter into a dialogue.